Alright, hi, this is my book review of this fantastic book here, Rethinking Social Studies and History Education, Social Education Through Alternative Texts by Cameron White. It was an interesting book, and I would love to give you a quick summary about it. So basically what this book wanted to get across to everybody was the idea that integrating youth culture and integrating media and pop culture into our teaching of history will, better help kids to relate to and feel a connection with history. The media and the culture that they focused on throughout this book was, the selection was video games, surprisingly, TV, movies, music, sports movies had its own chapter completely. As well as using international music and international media to help us gain a wider worldview. Just the whole book repeated time and time again that, the media, especially now, throughout history, there's, with new pop culture, with, jazz music and with other social movements that, created new media, history usually kind of pushed against that. But in reality, if history were to embrace it, there would be less of a pushback and less of a clash between the generations as we go forward. And I feel like if we were to use pop culture to help our students learn history, they would feel more of a connection and feel more in control of history in general and the difference that they can make in things. Something super interesting about our day to day is that, back in the day, history was only written by the victors. We only know about the winning battles in ancient times. But nowadays, with the blessing of social media and, all forms of media, basically, we were able to get a pretty wide range of what people believe on both sides. We don't just get one side of the argument. And so those are some of the strengths of using media, as another resource. This book was also fantastic strength-wise because it gave lots and lots of application ideas. It was super easy to read and understand. It was almost repetitive at times. It was repetitive at times. But it was really, really easy to understand, easy to apply. They were very specific and open, and they did not beat around the bush about the way they felt media should be implemented in the classroom. As well, they didn't just give you ideas on how to apply it, they gave lots of scenarios as well. So if you need those to really visualize how to put these into play in your class, then that's really great. Some of the weaknesses I saw in this text were really just, this book was written for a Texas audience, surprisingly enough. It was directed very much toward Texas teachers, Texan history, Texas experiences. In a couple of the chapters, most of the experiences and most of the things they suggest that we do, like go to a really cool museum that's in Houston. You can find similar museums in cities near you, but it's kind of, you have to stretch a little bit more to apply the ideas to you and your situation, as well as it could get a little bit repetitive. This is just me being picky, but maybe with a little bit of a different organization of their chapters or their content or something could have made the book less repetitive and more, just kind of easier to follow and less of a drag to read all in one sitting. But it was really good other than that. It had a lot of good information in there. This book contributes to our teaching by helping us understand the importance of popular media, not being afraid of it, and giving us an idea on how to incorporate these ideas. I would definitely recommend it to any and all, especially Texas teachers, who are either afraid of using popular media or unfamiliar or just need some new ideas. But it was a great resource for me to feel confident in using movie clips and music clips and finding different ways um, to get media tied into my lessons, so that I know that direct instruction isn't the greatest form of instruction, but I firmly believe that media can make it more interesting and help the students feel a better connection to what's being presented if the material actually applies to their daily life. So an application of the text in the book, two of the main things that I was thinking about as I was going through it were using movie clips to illustrate certain themes or concepts. Just recently in a Greece lesson, I used a clip from the movie 300 explaining how Spartan soldiers were and how dedicated they were to their society, and how Spartan boys were raised to be Spartan soldiers. And it was really, I feel like it was a very effective tool for me to use to kind of show, this is how Spartan soldiers believe. This is what they believe. This is their attitude. I could have, of course I could have explained it. Having 300 strapping, strong soldiers all yell, "We are Sparta" at once was just kind of, it got a different message across than little old me standing in front of the classroom trying to explain that to them. As well, another cool idea this book gave was to have the students bring in their own media as it applied to the subject matter. And I thought that was a great idea because, perhaps offering that as extra credit or just as part of a project, where if, as they're listening to their own music or as they're watching their own movies, when they see a clip or when they hear a song that ties into communism or it ties into democracy or the idea of freedom, they can they can make those connections themselves and bring them in and be like, guys, look what I found. And not only help their connections with history get strengthened, but help the connections of their classmates grow stronger as well as give me more resources to help strengthen future students. So I'm really excited to be able to implement that portion of using media in my classroom. One of the favorite theories that I was thinking about as I was reading this is the socio-cultural learning theory, where learning is social, it's cultural, and what is media except a huge part of our culture these days. And so not only are they learning socially with their peers, but by sharing the media with their peers, they are tying history culturally to them, and they are able to come up with a better connection. Some of my favorite just kind of gifts I was thinking of as I was reading, just kind of ways to apply it, were with the British debates. We could use that with the different sides of media. We could get 2 articles or 2 tweets or 2 Facebook posts or whatever about different sides of an argument. You could use a British debate to help show how people feel about these, or a spectrum survey, or even observation inference charts, depending on what the media resource is. If it's a cool movie clip that someone brings in, or a cool clip of song lyrics that someone brings in, we can observe what the lyrics are and how they apply to the current theme, and just kind of get some critical thinking going and having a good time with that. An example of a gift style that I would personally really enjoy using is a debate with the pros and cons of a current event, such as immigration, and having the students, read different articles from both sides and personal accounts from both sides of the debate, pro and against immigration, and having them either being on their desks or having quick lightning rounds on explaining this, but with the media clips and news clips of how that plays out. Anyways, Thank you, and that's my presentation.